Welcome back. All right, so this is the first news of the day style video I've done in, it's got to be over a week, where it's multiple topics. So, saw on whiteboard, no whiteboard behind me, and uh, the notebook for me to write down the timestamps that I'll use that'll be as chapters below the video. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump into it talking about John Hynes. So all Nashville fans are completely fine with, and again, I kind of know where that's going. The Nashville Predators, David Poile deciding to re-up John Hynes, 2-year extension for Hynes. So he's got some job security in that he'll get paid for the next 2 years. And I say this because we often see a coach get that new extension, and he might be gone the following season. I remember Travis Green, lame duck coach, and they should sign him. And this is just terrible. How can they be so bad to Travis Green? And I can't, there's lots of teams that would want Travis Green, so I can't believe they're doing him like this. So Vancouver signs him, and fans are like, oh, thank God. See, there he goes. And then he's fired partway into the following season with everybody going, see, Green was the problem. All right. There you go. So we'll see what happens with Hynes. Also, I wanted to mention too that with Askarov signing his entry-level contract with Nashville, does that make him an option as the backup next year, or does he end up in the AHL and do they bring somebody else in to be the backup? I mean, it really depends on how ready they believe Askarov is. I'll be interested to see how he does in North America against National Hockey League players. I would think he'll get at least some looks in the preseason. But yeah, David Poile in the offseason. I'd be curious to see if he does look for an NHL level backup, or if he decides Askarov is that NHL level backup, and then he doesn't really need one. So that's something to keep an eye on. Mitch Marner, of course, victim of a carjacking in Toronto. He put out a thank you on social media to all the fans and media and for people being concerned. It's a scary thing. There's still a search by Toronto police for the 3 men that are responsible. Apparently, one of them armed with a gun, the other 2 having knives. And so they're doing their best to try to track down what happened here. So, I mean, obviously, the key thing is Mitch is okay. He's fine. He didn't get hurt. That's really important. And yeah, apparently, this is something that's been going on in Toronto lately. It's not entirely uncommon. And again, you just end up being kind of happy because, I mean, a car you can replace. The things in the car likely are things you can replace as well. Mitch Marner, you can't. So I'm glad he's okay, and things are things, right? Anyways, next up on the board is Cam Neely, and I did say on the board, I apologize. But yeah, Cam Neely talking to the press today and saying that he hopes Bergeron will come back, and Bergeron still saying, well, I wouldn't play anywhere but Boston, which is what players always say before they leave, John Tavares. So I'm not making a comparison there because Bergeron has played for a very long time for Boston, and I really believe that he doesn't intend to go anywhere else. But there are times where a veteran player will get an offer like Alfredson when he was going to Detroit because he wanted a chance to win a Stanley Cup and he thought he had an opportunity there. So it's possible that Bergeron hits the market and says, well, I'm not really all that interested. And then a team like Tampa Bay or a team like Colorado says, look, we'll pay you this much for a couple of years. Why don't you come over and play with us? And then maybe that I would never play anywhere but Boston turns into, I love Boston, but I have a shot at a Stanley Cup. So again, Cam Neely wants to bring him back, also wants to extend Don Sweeney. So Don Sweeney is somebody who I've seen complaints about from Boston fans that he gives up too many first-round picks. I'm not going to disagree. The first-round picks the Bruins have been giving up, absolutely problematic. The fact that they traded Ryan Lindgren has kind of bit them as well, although I do like their defense core just fine. Adding Lindgren to it might be pretty cool. Having Carlo and Lindgren would have been kind of fun to have. But anyways, Sweeney's been good at points as well, and so I think he's probably earned the benefit of the doubt. Neely also saying that he's trying to avoid going into a full-scale rebuild in the event that Bergeron doesn't return. He might retire. I think with 982 points, so that's probably unlikely. It's so close to 1,000. I think retirement's probably unlikely, but I don't know that Bergeron necessarily cares about reaching 1,000 points. So I'll be interested to see what he does in the offseason and then what the Bruins do as well. So, next up, Mike Smith. Mike Smith gets lit up last night by the Calgary Flames. Now, the decision is that tomorrow they're going to go back with Smith again. Now, I think part of it is probably that Koskinen got lit up too. I think that while there were a couple of goals that might have been leaky, Definitely that last one on Smith looked kind of leaky, and there were probably a couple on Koskinen as well. The reality is that the defense wasn't good enough for the Oilers, and the Flames were just able to tee off from all over the ice. So I would expect things to change tomorrow. And again, there really wasn't anything from Koskinen that would tell you that he should be in there instead of Smith. If Koskinen got in there and saved everything and looked fantastic, then yeah, you'd be coming back with Koskinen. But as it is, you give Smith another chance. He did win 4 out of 7 in that first round. He did bounce back from the occasional bad game against the Kings as well. So we'll see how things turn out for him. But for the Oilers, Smith, I totally get why he'd be the one that they're going to go back to. John Klingberg saying that he wants to stay in Dallas. That's fine. I'm wondering what the term and what the value of the contract would be. I also understand why Dallas didn't move him at the deadline. They had injury problems. They couldn't afford to trade out a top 4 defenseman at the deadline. So Klingberg's still here, still in Dallas. Here, I'm in Abbotsford, but you know what I mean. He's still in the Dallas organization. And so he's looking at the possibility of sticking around. But I wonder if Dallas is going to make him an offer that makes him want to stick around or not. And again, I think if they offered him a long-term, like 6 or 7 year extension, shorter-term extension I might be okay with. But again, it's that term combined with the cap hit, right? So in the case of other teams we've seen go through similar situations where they don't know whether or not they're going to keep a top 4 defenseman, maybe a top 6 forward. Sometimes the amount of money you save by letting that player go works out. Sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does. So for Dallas, again, it's still up in the air, but he wants to stay for what that's worth. So the reason I'm wearing Ottawa, and of course this hat, that's weird, but the reason I'm wearing Ottawa is Brady Tkachuk. Brady Tkachuk in Calgary, really amping up his support for the Flames and his brother. And I think, and I said this on Twitter as well, if the roles were reversed, if Matthew Tkachuk was watching his brother in Ottawa going on a run in the playoffs, I think Matthew would be there leading the charge and cheering him on. Keith Tkachuk, the family, they're in the crowd watching as well. And I think it's genuine. I don't think that it's a sign that, Brady's not 100% committed to the Sens. He did try to get a Go Sens Go chant started in Calgary, so he tried. And I think he's just loving seeing his brother, getting out of the first round and getting into the second round, and it's just Battle of Alberta, and he's into it. And I think it's great. I think it's good for the game. I think it's great. And again, it's family, and I think it's a lot. I think it would be weirder if Brady wasn't there, and if anybody asked him, he's like, well, it's not me in the playoffs, so I don't care. That'd be kind of weird. I think that it's just normal that you'd support family. And again, roles reversed, Matthew would be in Ottawa. We may see that at some point, right? I hope we do. It'd be nice to see Ottawa get over the hump and actually make the playoffs sooner rather than later. Speaking of making the playoffs, Mark Stone, former Ottawa Senator, now Vegas Golden Knight, so it's kind of a segue that works that way, has had back surgery. He was not 100%. He wasn't anywhere near 100% this year. His back bothering him as it had been most of the season. Now with the back surgery done, the expectation is that he will be 100% come the fall when the season gets started. So, again, to me, Stone did not look right after the injury. He did not look right just before they put him on LTIR either. And now hopefully he'll be back to 100%, which could absolutely catapult Vegas back into the playoffs. They didn't finish below the playoff line by much anyways. And so if Stone's healthy and motivated, and if they have the goaltending all figured out, and if any of the drama's just been left in the past, winning will do a lot to get rid of the drama. But yeah, they got off to a good start. And if Stone gets off to that good start as well, I think Vegas could have quite the comeback story next year, which everybody would absolutely love. Right? Right, yeah, that's how that works. All right, and last up, I just wanted to say we're through the first round of the playoffs. We're now, one game through each series in round 2. These have been absolutely fantastic. I think this is the most fun I've had covering playoffs since the channel got off the ground. They might be the most fun playoffs I've watched. The 7-game series in that first round, the fact that we had 5 game 7s, absolutely awesome. And so I'm hoping the second round we see that again. I'd love to see more 7th games. Yeah, that's right, 7th games. and just more of this wide open action like we saw in the Battle of Alberta, as well as some tight checking too. I like the fact that each series has its own personality, and that's been fun. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.